Ethan had always thought his life was ordinary. He worked long hours as a mechanic in the quiet suburbs of the city. He liked the silence when he returned home. No one to disturb him, no distractions, just the soft hum of his ceiling fan and the faint buzz of streetlights outside. Yet for the past few nights, something strange had begun to happen in his small apartment. At first, it was subtle. A faint sweet scent that he couldn't identify would linger in the air when he entered his room. It was soft, floral, almost like fresh flowers mixed with something unearthly. He thought he might be imagining it. Perhaps a neighbor had a new perfume or a strange flower in their apartment. But the scent continued, growing stronger each night. It wasn't just the smell. Items in his room seemed slightly out of place, even though he was careful about where he left them. His tools, which he always kept neatly on a shelf, sometimes rested on the floor or were shifted slightly on his desk. His blanket would be warm and slightly crumpled, as though someone had been sitting on it. One night, curiosity finally overcame him. Ethan decided to stay awake, hoping to catch whatever or whoever was behind these odd occurrences. He sat on the edge of his bed, eyes straining in the dim light, ears listening for the faintest sound. Hours passed and his eyelids grew heavy, yet he refused to close them. Then just past midnight, he saw it. A sudden flash of blue light near the corner of his room made him jerk upright. A figure appeared not more than 10 feet away, glowing softly. It was a woman, but unlike any human he had ever seen. Her skin shimmered faintly, silver lines tracing delicate patterns along her arms and neck. Her hair flowed like liquid starlight, catching the dim light of his lamp. Her eyes were enormous, reflecting the room like twin moons filled with curiosity, fear, and something else, an intelligence that made Ethan's heart race. He froze. The figure froze too, as though unsure what to do. For a moment, neither of them moved. Ethan's first thought was to run, to scream, but he found he couldn't. There was something calm about her presence, a quiet that seemed to soothe even his racing heart. And the scent, the familiar floral, starlit smell, was stronger now, surrounding her like a faint aura. Then, without warning, she vanished. The light blinked out, leaving Ethan gasping in the empty room. He rushed to the spot where she had been, but there was nothing, only the lingering fragrance. For the rest of the night, he couldn't sleep. He kept imagining her figure in every shadow, her glowing eyes staring back at him from the corners of his room. The next evening, he was prepared. He set up small barriers around his room. Nothing harmful, just subtle alarms made from strings and small bells, anything that would alert him if she appeared. Hours passed. Midnight approached and the room was silent. Then the blue light returned. She stepped into the room again, cautious this time, looking around with wide eyes. Ethan didn't move. You're awake, she said softly. Her voice was musical, almost like wind chimes, but not harsh or alien. It was soothing. Ethan blinked. I guess I am, he said, unsure how to address her. I've noticed strange things. You've been coming here. Her eyes widened slightly. She took a step closer, tilting her head in a way that seemed almost human. I didn't mean to frighten you, she whispered. I needed your presence. It stabilizes me. Ethan frowned. Stabilizes you? What do you mean? Her gaze softened. She seemed hesitant, unsure how much to reveal. I am Lyra. I am. Not from here, my people. They travel in ways you cannot understand. Your world, your mind. It gives me balance. I did not know. You would notice. Ethan's mind was racing. An alien in his room, visiting him every night. Part of him wanted to call someone, anyone, but another part, a curious, cautious part, urged him to stay quiet. There was a strange honesty in her eyes, a vulnerability he didn't expect from something so otherworldly. I don't understand, he admitted. You come here every night? Why? Lyra stepped closer, the glow of her body bathing the room in soft light. I cannot explain fully. My teleportation, it is unstable. Being near your mind, your calm, simple thoughts, allows me to anchor myself. I rest here. I do not wish to frighten you, Ethan swallowed. The fear that had gripped him earlier was slowly replaced by wonder. So you're not here to harm me? Lyra shook her head. No, I would never harm you. You are precious in ways I cannot fully explain. For the first time, Ethan felt a strange connection. Despite the impossibility of the situation, He didn't feel fear anymore. There was a trust growing between them, fragile and new. He nodded slowly. Then, I won't try to stop you, but maybe you can tell me more? She seemed relieved. I will as much as I can, but you must understand. My people, they do not approve of contact with humans. If they discover, they may take you or erase your memory. Ethan's heart skipped a beat. Erase my memory? What? Why? They protect the laws of our world. Humans are developing. Unbound interactions are forbidden. I cannot explain why I chose you, only I feel drawn here. He considered this. Fear still lingered, but curiosity burned brighter. Then maybe we can find a way to make this work. Together. Lyra tilted her head as if surprised by his words. Together? Yes, Ethan said firmly. I don't know how, but I think if you stay, maybe we can figure it out. For a moment, the room was silent except for the soft hum of the ceiling fan. Then Lyra's glow pulsed slightly, a sign of happiness. She stepped closer and lowered herself onto the edge of his bed, careful not to touch him. I will try, if you allow me. Over the next few nights, they began to communicate more. Ethan learned that Lyra's people traveled between stars by resonance, using emotional energy as a guide. Humans, with their simple, intense emotions, were particularly resonant. That was why she had come to him. His calm, peaceful mind acted as a stabilizer for her unstable teleportation. Ethan, in turn, learned how to sense her presence without fear. He could feel her energy in the room, a faint warmth that made the hair on his arm stand. And the scent, her signature scent, became a comfort rather than a mystery. It was as if the fragrance itself told him she was near, safe and trusting him. But the calm didn't last forever. One night, as Lyra rested near his desk, she stiffened suddenly. Her eyes widened, glowing brighter than before. They know where I am, she whispered, panic creeping into her voice. My people, they are coming. They will take me. They will erase everything. You must prepare. Ethan's pulse quickened. Wait, what do we do? Lyra shook her head. I do not know, but you must be ready. They will not hesitate. They do not understand bonds like ours. I wish I could stay safely, without risk to you, but it is coming. Ethan clenched his fists. Fear had returned, but it was joined by determination. Then we'll face it together. Whatever comes, I won't let them take you without a fight. Lyra's eyes softened, and she reached out, brushing a hand along the edge of his bed. You are brave. Most humans would flee, but you are different, perhaps. This is why I chose you. The night stretched on, filled with silent preparation and whispered instructions. Ethan began to understand that their bond was more than coincidence. It was a rare connection, one that transcended worlds. He didn't know what tomorrow would bring, but for the first time in his life, he felt truly alive, truly needed, and truly connected to something beyond himself. Outside, the city continued in its normal, sleepy rhythm, but in Ethan's small room, the air was filled with anticipation, with energy, and with the quiet hope of a human and an alien standing together against the unknown. And as he drifted to sleep that night, he could still smell her scent lingering in the air. Sweet, comforting, and impossibly alien. It was a promise that she would return and that their story had only just begun. Ethan woke to the soft hum of the morning city outside his window. The room was quiet, yet the lingering scent of Lyra still clung faintly to the air like starlight trapped in fragrance. She had stayed by his side all night, sleeping on the edge of his bed, her presence calming yet powerful. For a few brief hours, the world outside could not touch them, and Ethan felt a strange peace. But peace, he knew, could not last. Lyra's warning from the previous night hung heavily in his mind. Her people were coming. They did not forgive, and they did not negotiate. The bond she shared with him, a bond that now felt as real and vital as air, was forbidden. If they discovered it, Ethan could be erased and Lyra could be dragged away. He could not let that happen. Lyra stirred, stretching her glowing limbs and blinking her luminous eyes. You are awake, she said softly, her voice carrying a hint of nervous energy. I am, Ethan replied, rubbing his eyes. Did you sense them? She nodded. Yes, they are close. I felt their resonance as soon as dawn came. They may attempt to come through the portal near your city. She glanced around his room, her gaze sharp, calculating. We must prepare. You must learn to channel the resonance with me. It may be the only way to protect yourself and me. Ethan felt his heart pound. Channel resonance? I don't even know what that means. Lyra smiled faintly, though worry lingered in her glowing eyes. It is simpler than it sounds. Feel me. Feel the flow of my energy and echo it with your own mind. It will stabilize my teleportation. If they arrive, you may be able to anchor me so we can move together, instantly. For the next hours they trained in silence. Ethan learned to sense her presence even when she was not fully visible, a soft hum in the air that he could follow. He matched his breathing to hers, letting her energy ripple through him like waves in a quiet ocean. With each practice, the blue light of her presence became easier for him to bear, less frightening and more familiar. By nightfall he felt ready, or at least as ready as he could be. They had no weapons, no reinforcements. All they had was each other, and the bond that had formed quietly over the past nights. Ethan wondered if that bond would be enough against alien enforcers, beings whose power could erase existence itself. The flash came suddenly. The air shimmered, and the faint blue light of their arrival filled the room. Ethan's muscles tensed. Lyra stepped forward, her glow flaring slightly, sensing his fear and echoing it back to him in reassurance. 3 enforcers materialized. They were taller than any human, their bodies encased in dark armor that seemed to absorb light. Their eyes glowed with a cold intensity. Each step they took seemed to hum with power. Ethan swallowed hard, gripping the edge of his desk. Trying to keep his mind calm, Lyra whispered, "Stay close, focus, feel me." Ethan nodded, closing his eyes for a moment and letting her energy flow into him. It was strange, like breathing with more than just his lungs, like sensing a tide of living light moving in time with his own heartbeat. The enforcers looked around the room, scanning, their expressions hard and unreadable. "You must come with us," one said in a voice that sounded like metal scraping against glass. "You are in violation. You must not interact with humans. You will be returned." Lyra stepped forward, her glow flaring brightly. "No," she said firmly. "I will not go. He is my anchor. You cannot take him. You cannot erase him. It is forbidden." The enforcers paused, their glowing eyes narrowing. Ethan realized something incredible. In their culture, the bond he shared with Lyra was not just personal. It was sacred. A human defending an alien in this way. It shocked them. Ethan took a deep breath and stood his ground. "I'm not going anywhere," he said, his voice steady despite the fear rising in his chest. "She's not leaving. If you try to take her, you'll have to go through me." Lyra's eyes widened slightly, and a faint glow pulsed across her skin, brightening with relief. The enforcers tilted their heads, communicating silently among themselves. Then in unison they took a step back. "You are protected," one said finally. "By bond law, this human is now part of the sacred chain. Removal is forbidden unless catastrophic circumstances arise." Ethan blinked in disbelief. "Part of the sacred chain?" Lyra smiled faintly, though still cautious. "Yes, my people respect bonds of this nature. You have shown bravery and loyalty beyond what is expected of your species. The laws recognize this." The enforcers vanished, leaving a faint echo of light behind. Ethan sank to the floor, letting out a shaky laugh. I can't believe that just happened." Lyra crouched beside him, brushing a hand along his shoulder. You are extraordinary, Ethan. Most humans would flee, would panic. But you are steady. You are worthy of trust." Ethan smiled, though his chest still pounded. "And you are incredible. I never imagined that someone like you would visit me every night." Her glow softened. "I have chosen to stay with you. You no longer need to fear my disappearance. The bond anchors me. I can be here, safely, because of you." Over the following nights, the apartment became their sanctuary. Ethan and Lyra learned to communicate silently, through gestures and shared resonance. She taught him more about her world, the distant stars, the laws that governed their people, and the rare occurrences of bonds between humans and aliens. Ethan shared his life, simple and ordinary, yet now imbued with the extraordinary presence of Lyra. One night, as they sat near the window watching the city lights flicker below, Lyra spoke softly. "You are my world now, Ethan, this place, your presence. It calms me in ways I cannot explain. I wish to remain here, with you. Ethan reached out, gently taking her glowing hand. You don't have to leave your scent behind as proof anymore, he said with a small laugh. You can stay beside me. For real. Lyra's eyes shimmered, reflecting the moonlight streaming through the window. Then I will. I will stay. Every night. And every day. If you allow me. Ethan nodded, a warmth spreading through his chest. For the first time in his life, he felt completely seen, completely understood, and completely connected to something greater than himself. Together, they watched the stars, the human and the alien, bound by a bond neither fully understood yet knew would endure. Outside, the city continued in its sleepy rhythm, unaware that in a small apartment, something extraordinary had taken root. A human and an alien standing together, defying the rules of worlds, creating their own story of trust, courage, and unexpected love. And as Ethan drifted to sleep that night, Lyra resting by his side, the familiar scent lingered once more in the air. Not as a warning, not as a clue, but as a gentle promise that some bonds, no matter how impossible they seem, could withstand anything, even the laws of distant stars.